Hey, how's it going, everyone? If you hear a noise in the background, I've got an industrial fan blowing on me because it's a bit warm. Hence the early live. As per usual, we got our background noise of baby minor birds squawking to get fed. So, yeah. So, I was asked in yesterday's live by Dark to wear a thong to today's live, you see. But in Australia, we call what Americans call flip-flops, we call thongs, what you wear on your feet, right? So, I don't own any thongs, so I got Crocs instead. How you going, Tommy? And I'm also doing it. I'm doing it so in the same direction. You know how we're down under. So I'm down under today for you guys. All right, is that cool? How you going, Yappy? Okay. Sorry. Nah, I'm in Australia, Chappy. Australia's upside down, isn't it? So it's the right way up. Yeah? How you going, Doug? Yeah. See? It spins a different direction and we go the different direction too, like this. See? Even this is upside down. Look. See what I mean? Oh, I'm just showing you guys what it looks like for us, okay? Hence the title, Upside Down. What if I do this, Stace? Is that better? Look at that. My lathe goes backwards now without actually going backwards. How you going, Stace? All right, good luck with the viewing today, peeps. It's pine, Jappy. How you going, Nick? Don't worry, Stace. The plane flips over halfway when you're on the way here anyway, so you'll end up on the right way. You'll be all right. Try again, eh? Yeah, I didn't think I was going to be coming back, to be honest. Bloody thing. We run on our train system runs on diesel trains, and we're switching over to electric. So I would assume that's where it comes from, because we generally don't get power cuts. There you go, Mike. So as most people would know by now, I don't trim my pieces of wood up to look like perfect pieces of blanks to go on my wood. I like to work with them like this. It's more fun. There you go, Mark. There you go.
It's loading the dishwasher. And then I go to log in, and I couldn't get my mic to work, and it kept telling me I had a problem, and I found the problem. It wasn't with the mic. It was I had too many pieces of software running on the thing that required the mic, so I had to turn those off to free up the microphone.
Yeah. There you go, Wayne. I had a power blackout like 10 minutes into my live, And then my computer decided it wanted to restart 50,000 times. So I was away for a period myself. So
Ah,
and it might have confused you a little bit because when I first had the live going, I turned my camera upside down so I could show everyone what it was like down under.
yeah.
I put a link in the chat for anyone that wants to join the voice.
Yeah, Jay, do you hear me? Okay. I'm just wondering because I put on a pair of Bluetooth headphones that is an early Christmas present. The only problem is when people come in the room, you can hear them too, making a fool of themselves. But they're teenagers. What do you expect?
Yep, live on camera.
Yeah, that can be embarrassing.
We'll,
At
we'll,
least
we'll
it
all
says
laugh.
you've been live for 30 minutes, it says. Does that include
Yeah,
your downtime?
yeah, because the stream stays up.
Ah, okay.
It
That's
keeps
good to
running and
know.
everyone can stay in here. So it makes it easier for me to get back to.
Yeah, who else have you invited tonight?
Everyone off the list, the usual crowd, and I've chucked it in the chat as well. Any randoms want to pop in, they can, you know.
Okay, let me pull the chat up.
Robbo might be in a little bit later, but he's busy this morning sorting out stuff for his wife's retirement. So
Get this all sorted out as to who's done what. Yeah,
there you go, Wayne. Hello.
Wayne, we're waiting.
That's all right. I'll keep going. It's fine.
Yeah, Wayne, can't hear you. Oh, got mic muted. There you go. How you doing, Wayne? Yeah, Wayne went away. How you doing there, Mark?
Sorry, what was that, Dr. Bob?
Oh, I was going to see asking Mark how he was doing, if he's still in.
How you going?
There he is,
Hey.
the dude.
How you going?
Yeah, fine, thanks. How are you? Sorry, I had to sort my mic out.
No, you're right.
Yeah, just
Hi, Wayne.
Hey,
Hi,
what's going
Bob.
on?
you getting any sleep?
Good evening.
Uh,
Can you hear?
Yes.
we can hear you, Wayne.
Yes. Wayne.
Yeah, it's all grand. Good.
How are you
Good
two
evening
going?
to you. Good evening, Bob. Good evening, Mark.
Hello again.
What's going on?
Yeah, not too bad. How are you?
Oh yeah, you know, it's 35 degrees and it's 10:30 in the morning,
Oh, Jesus.
and the humidity level is about 85%. Blah.
So what's that
So,
you've got on
so
the lathe there then?
oh, it's a piece of metal.
Yeah. Very funny.
It's a piece of pine.
Okay.
So I'd like to make a bowl, like a winged bowl or something, a knuckle duster. But I don't know how this crack's going to go. So this is a pretty good one. And it quite continually goes all the way across, I might add. So it might work, it might not. I don't really care.
But if it hits you when it breaks, you will care.
No, it's because of the way it's going across. Should be all right, I think.
Now, if I was in Las Vegas, I'm sure you could get odds for that happening. They give odds.
Yes. All right, I'm going to put myself on mute so you lads can talk. All right.
Yeah. Cheers then, Nick.
See you later, Nick. Thanks for coming in.
Yep. Wayne's gone.
Oh,
Might have been having sound issues. And also, too, you might be able to hear a fan or something blowing in my direction. I've got an industrial fan blowing on my back.
No, that's fine.
All right, cool.
yeah, can't hear it.
You do what you gotta do to stay comfortable.
Yeah, today's been a hectic day.
I bet.
Hectic day. We had all of our members of our Detroit area wood turners show up to that as paid members, and we outgrew our license.
Oh, did you?
So yeah, we have not had that many people want to log in. It's been the biggest. There was about 115. We had to turn people away. But members come first.
Yeah. Steve and I were sitting there. We did get a message from your president.
Yeah, we're sorry for that. We determined we're going to try and upgrade our membership with software, and we're setting up. The board's going to be discussing on online. Our board meets online, and that's one of the topics in January about what we have as members and what we have as visitors. Visitors can always attend a normal membership meeting. No, the visitors can. Right now, the idea is that we have 2 meetings a month. One is a hands-on shop where people are working at their own lathes and usually have cameras, being their phone or whatever, with them on the lathe or shop, and carrying on conversations and tutoring that way. If need be, put them in breakout rooms, one beginner and 2 people that have a background, and they can kind of coach them, and then they can toggle back to the regular meeting when they want. It works fairly well. It's just getting someone to be able to coordinate that on a computer. And it's a full-time job keeping track of everybody and what they're doing. But they, it's, we're surprising. We've grown more in people that want to be members than we have in any other given time, and we haven't met one time in our facility this year.
Right.
That is good. That's really surprising. But they're talking about having 2 different classes, but they don't like the term class because some people put a capital C on the word to define a class.
Yeah, yeah.
And we don't want to have people think they're second class because that's a connotation. So we're trying to work out so we can have that way we can pay for the extended Zoom license.
Call it an instructional session.
Oh, we do, but it's the people who attend it have to have a login ID and password.
Right.
So it's just getting enough to cover because we've got members, quite a few that don't even turn wood, that are paid members because they like coming to our meetings, because they find it creative. And they find meeting and just talking to other people who work with wood. And surprisingly, a lot of the turners have other than wood turning as a hobby. Some paint, some do leather work, everybody has 1 or 2 things. And of course, the object is to get the spouse to come, because then you have a better chance of coming to all of meetings and events if you can come with your spouse. And a lot of them are involved in different crafts that take place in the same building that we meet. So we got a pretty good size, hefty membership. 2/3 turn wood, but the others not necessarily turn wood, but their kids do, and they bring their kids. So let's say we have grown, and it's growing pains. But come January, that they're going to settle the problem and work out with something and put it up to the membership. But we're upgrading our Zoom license to be over 100.
Good.
But the other thing is we share our Zoom license with a couple other clubs in Michigan that can't afford a Zoom license because they might only have 25 people or something. So we've done that with other clubs that are just too small but can't afford it.
Jay, buddy, that crack, that is really big.
Yeah,
And
it's getting bigger.
It goes from one side all the way across through the pith.
Yep, I know.
Hey, let's go.
Sid's coming down today and he's bringing me some more wood, so hopefully I don't have to use any more pieces like this.
That's
Sorry, what was that, Dr. Bob?
dangerous. I wouldn't touch it myself because
Yeah.
the crack keeps getting bigger as you're relieving.
Is
As
that-
you're relieving wood, and it's getting bigger.
It's got wider since you started.
Yeah.
Shut that side on the top now. What do you
Throw it over the neighbour's fence, is that what you reckon?
Well, if that piece lets go, that's going to get you at 30 mile an hour.
Yeah, that's just too dangerous.
He's got other cracks in it too. That's what
Yeah. Your sound keeps cutting out a little bit there, Mark. I can understand you, but I'm not sure if Dr. Bob can.
I feel like it keeps coming out.
No. Didn't get that one there. Alright, I guess I'll go find another piece of wood then. Damn it, that was nice soft wood too. Look at this mug of a thing.
Oh, blimey. What's that? Don't say wood.
Bloody hard. Can't you see it written across there? Bloody hard? No?
Yeah.
Yeah. The cracks aren't too bad in this one, but
Now that looks like it. So, that looks alright.
yeah. But can I just end the live for a second so I can swear?
Mute yourself, yeah.
Uh,
Well, if you swear at Aussie, I don't think they'll catch it. It's colorful slang that you have
I
to
know.
sit back and think about.
I don't think YouTube's algorithms need to sit and think about it though.
I wonder what happened to Wayne.
Might have just been a bit of lag in between, maybe.
Yeah, you might have a tech issue.
Well, he lives, what, in Ireland? Or no, Scotland.
Scotland.
Scotland, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, that's one person I follow. I mean, I
Jesus, that was hard.
really enjoy watching him.
Did you hear that too, Mark? Did you?
Yeah, I did. Jeez, jeez.
Bloody thing.
Okay.
So yeah. This, folks, is what you call a tool blunter. Wait. Bloody magnets, I don't know. They stick when they want to stick.
Got a mind of their own, I think.
Yeah. They have when the wall of my shed is stinking hot. I would have just about pierced a hole right through that last piece of wood that I was trying to turn, banging that hard.
Oh, I was going to bet it'd be too big for the swing. Just barely.
Oh, damn it. You should have put your money down.
Oh, that's close. What's
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
5 mil? 6 mil?
Yeah, about 5 mil. Well, the last piece before I started turning it, it was 1 or 2 mil from touching the bed.
Can you get your banjo underneath?
Yeah, I can get it underneath when it's like that, but not when
I
it's
was
like
going to
that.
say, because you grabbed the other end.
Yeah, and I got experience in that. Oh.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, so what I'll do, this is going to get loud, so I might just mute it.
So are you feeling better?
Sorry?
Are you feeling any better, dude? You're looking better.
Well, don't know, I've had a couple of nights sleep the last few days, so a bit better, I suppose.
Either that or your camera's got a little more color pickup because you don't look as white or as pale.
No, I've changed the set. I've got a different setup. So that might be it.
Well, yeah, the last camera just made you look as if you were like standing in line at a morgue. You know,
That was probably
what do they put? 1 foot in the coffin is the old joke.
Probably fairly accurate then.
You know, that's an interesting way to center a piece of wood. It's a claw hammer.
Yeah. He does have his strange ways, doesn't he?
Well,
works.
it's not a matter of centering it. It's a matter of this is too weak to push the wood into the drive spur on the headstock, so I use the hammer to bash it into the spur on the headstock. Otherwise, it just bounces.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jay, before you go, mate, can I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
Can you wind the quill out any further?
Yeah, I can.
Just give yourself another inch. Just so you've got a bit of play on the banjo. Because your banjo's right up against the tailstock, isn't it?
Yeah.
That'll do. That's enough. Then wind that quill in, make sure it's tight.
Yeah, I'll have to bash it again with the hammer.
That's what you call a hard wood.
Yep.
It bloody is.
Beating the crap out of it, and it's just bouncing.
Wood just means you got to sharpen your tool more often.
So what kind of wood is it, do you know?
Yeah, it's ghost gum.
Ghost gum.
Yep.
Right, okay.
So it's the bark that would be on here would be really thin and a silver grey kind of look to it.
Wow.
They generally don't grow very well in South Australia because of our Mediterranean climate, but it still grows, just not as good as it does elsewhere, I suppose. Now, I think I might sharpen my tools before this, and I think I might just leave the grinder turned on because I'm going to have to keep going back every 5 seconds.
Yeah, I think you're going to.
All right. I'd say wish me luck, but I don't even know if that's going to work.
Yellow.
I thought that was me then.
Yeah. Okay. Yep, I'll be out there, coming out. I'll be right back. Got it.
Yeah.
Answer the
Mike.
door.
Mike Midnight Joker says he thinks it's the type of eucalyptus that is common in the UK. Might be, but eucalyptus is a bit paler than that. And not as hard.
Yeah, it might come down to just where it's grown to, Mark, maybe. Maybe it just grows a bit softer in your side of the world because you have a little bit more rain. I don't know. Someone's dog's excited.
Here, Riley. Here's your treat. Oh, sorry about that. When the doorbell rings, the dog lights up. It's like a burglar alarm. Always got to see who's at the door. Which isn't bad in the middle of the night if there's a sound the dog doesn't recognize. Let everybody know.
Yes. That's what our dog was like, the one we just recently had put to sleep. That's exactly what he was like. He had 3 people he trusted in this world, and that was me, Amber, and my father-in-law, and that was it. Everyone else he had a passionate hate for.
Oh, this one is big, but he's supposedly a pit bull, but doesn't actually. He is warm, fuzzy, friendly, and he can walk. He can be barking at somebody, and they just tell him to sit down and shut up, and he'll do that.
Funny, aren't they?
Yeah. Well, what gets me is he's big. It's supposed to be a miniature, but you could put a saddle on him.
Yep.
And
I just gotta duck inside for a second and grab my drink.
Okay.
Okay.
He has this bad habit. Well, when I fall asleep, he gets into my room because even if the door is shut, I don't have a lock, just a normal catch. He knows where to hit below the doorknob to open a closed door. And he comes in and goes to sleep on my bed. Except he wants to roll over against me. And I several times try to teach him a lesson by getting out of bed and getting on the other side of the bed. He'll roll over and fall on the floor and look really stupid. But yet he's a good shop dog. He comes out. He loves chasing shavings.
Yeah.
And if I got the shop vac on, the big shop vac, he's right there wanting me to get him with the shop vac.
I repositioned and replumbed my dust extraction today in the workshop.
Good.
Works better. Got a shorter throw on it now. Between the suction and the cyclone.
Do you have it grounded end to end?
No, because the pipe I use is wound with copper wire.
But
So
is that wire grounded to something?
Doesn't
Take
need
the
to be.
static away.
Doesn't need to be.
But the wire will pick up a charge.
Yeah, but It's sold as anti-static tubing.
Oh, okay. That's a different principle.
And Mike too. There's two versions of eucalyptus that look very very similar to each other. The only difference is one of them smells like lemon and the other one doesn't. Other than that, they look exactly the same. So there's lemon gum and then there's ghost gum. Like yeah, so you might have lemon gum there, Mike.
Cheers for that, Jay.
Yeah, all right.
You want to mute yourself, bud?
Sorry, I put it on mute.
Cool. Blimey.
Yeah, my system, I use the flexible hose, 4-inch hose, to go machine to machine, and it's got a metal spring that goes through it. But the problem there is I tap it and I jump the plastic gates because I couldn't afford metal gates.
Yeah.
So I jump that, the ground wire, and it gives me something to do. I get nothing else to do, you know. It's kind of a funny, sad thing, but it's wood turning, it's cleaning the shop, it's eating, it's turning on the dishwasher, wood turning, and sleeping.
Yeah. Well, I got
I
three
can't go
bowls.
anywhere.
I got 3 bowls, a box. What else did I do today? 3 bowls, a box, and a lidded box. Something else I got done today as well. Oh, another Christmas tree. So done all that today.
I seen you put in your comments with that box with the captured ring on it. Don't you like the ring on it?
No, that's a wind up for Pete.
Okay.
Pete from Twisted.
It looks great.
Pete from Twisted Trees. He hates captive rings. So
Does he?
Yeah. So I did a box with a captive ring on it, just because I could.
All right. Thanks for that information.
Yeah. So I'm doing another one in me live tonight. And he's here worming.
Maybe you should call it not a captured ring. Your title of your live or whatever.
No, I've just called it box.
Oh yeah, I did see that actually. Yes.
When he says, "Oh, you've left the base a bit thick, Mark," I'll go. Oh yeah, there's a reason for that. Oh look, a captive ring.
It was there all the time.
Yeah.
You just released it.
I've actually taken it off. I've taken it off the one I made yesterday and reshaped the bottom so it actually looks better. But I did it and then sent him the pictures. I said, "Look what you've made me do."
Come here, Ryder. Come on up here, big baby. I say he's a big dog.
He looks it.
When you get him on his hind feet, he can look me in the eyes. Get him to stand up, and all the
Cool.
way up, he can look me in the eyes. It's supposed to have been a toy bulldog, and then a miniature bulldog, but no. But he loves
Doesn't
going in the shop.
Doesn't
with
look
me.
anything miniature in that dog.
No. But with the grandkids and that, he just loves playing with them. It's as gentle as can be.
Hey, Bailey.
How you going, Chris?
Oh, right, his real name's Chris, is it? Hi, Chris.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I
but
almost need a directory today of handles like we used to in CB radio days.
Yeah, that'll be a good idea, Bob. You get started on it.
But they change. Everyone changes, and that stops it all. The only people that keep databases like that is like our FBI. When you change your name, they catch it. As an example, with the Midnight Joker, back in CB radio days when I was in my 20s, that was the handle of my best friend, because he'd go around people's houses at midnight and do something weird, be it a Claxton horn, an Ooga horn on his car, just to upset him. Then they'd run on the porch to see who it is, and he's already driven away. He got caught by the police. But you can still be one at midnight.
even though we can't hear him, I can just imagine how hard that wood is.
Yeah.
They do make me laugh. They do make me laugh, Mike. Apparently they've got representatives all over the globe. Work that one out.
So, dude, what's your next addition to your workshop?
I really need a better bandsaw. I've only got a bench top bandsaw at the moment, and even that's not very good. It can basically cut pen blanks, and it struggles with them.
Is it the motor's too small or the belt slipping? An old belt.
No, it's the motor's just underpowered.
Oh.
It's only a hobby. Axminster
okay.
hobby one. So
Yeah.
I need to invest in a bigger, better bandsaw. I can start cutting my own blanks then, and cause I've got a table saw already, but for cutting blanks, ball blanks out, I need something with an 8 or 12-inch depth of cut.
Hey,
One or
I've
2
got
horsepower motor.
Yeah, I've got one that's a 1.5 horse, and
Mine's got half.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Bench
mine's
top.
half horsepower.
Yep.
Well, I've got two, and I like the little one. I keep a littler blade on it for tighter turns. But I have my big one. I've actually put an extension on to give me another 10 inches, and that works beautifully. And then I've come across a motor I could put on it that was a 2-horse 220, so I picked that up and put it on, and nothing stops it.
As far as tools go, I'm pretty set. I don't really need. Obviously, I want. There's a difference between need and want.
Yep.
I don't need any more tools. For what I can do, I've got everything I need. But just to be able to be a bit more economical, save myself some money with not having to buy, pre-made blanks. I could buy I can get board length from my supplier, one of my sponsors. He can give me the wood I want in board section, then I can just mill it down into blanks as I need it.
Yeah. How thick wood do you want blanks to be?
Minimum 2-inch up to 4-inch thick.
Yeah.
10 to 14-inch diameter. I prefer the bigger bowls,
Yeah.
I like to do the bigger stuff. The timber yard who supports me, he's got some beautifully seasoned sycamore, cherry, oak, elm, ash, just sitting up there. He's not going to use it, so he'll mill it for me into board length as I need it, which is great. But apart from a chainsaw, I've got no way of milling it down to rounds.
Yeah, for the thickness that you have, because your table saw probably has what, an inch and a half, maybe a
No,
2 inch cut.
no, I've got 4-inch cut on my table saw.
Well, you can still take a flat board and, if you're
Yeah, I've seen
careful,
that.
be able to
I was,
take it off.
who did that? Gord Rock did it
Yeah,
recently, didn't he? Cutting rounds on a table saw with a jig.
yeah. I've done that a long time. I did before I got a bandsaw. It's
Oh,
safe to do as long as you
I,
keep your fingers away and the
yeah,
wood
see,
is held down.
the table saw and I have a healthy respect for each other. It's the only tool in my workshop I'm scared of, you know? And I'm quite happy to stay scared of it, because if you're scared of something, you treat it with respect.
What are you afraid of on it?
The fact that when you start it, the blade is spinning towards you. You have to
Yeah, but
stand,
if
but you
it's
stand
on
there.
there tight, don't forget the nut goes backwards, so
Yeah, I know, but it's
it
still,
won't.
it's counterintuitive. It's just this spinning blade, just,
Yeah, but that's a horror movie.
I know. I'm quite happy to keep that respect for it, though.
No, I respect mine. I just, like my fingers don't go where I know they will get cut off or whatever, but I'm always overly cautious. I have been ever since I got the first time I had a board kicked back at me. And I learned. I wasn't behind it, thank goodness. I always stand to the side of the blade. I never stand in front of the blade. So it's to one side or the other, and I'm reaching over to do the work. I'm
Yeah,
not pushing into it. But push blocks, to me, they're a necessity when I work with a saw. Even if I'm doing some fancy stuff on a band saw and I don't feel comfortable with, I'll use a push block, especially if I'm using it with wood that I'm cutting to thickness.
yeah.
So I've got the full height of it and it's only an inch wide and I want 1/4 inch slices.
Mike says that the gripper push tools are good with a table saw. Safer and a much better cut. I'll have a look at those.
Amen. I've been was a beta tester of those when they came out with them. They've got some
Are they like
neat
those?
accessories.
Are they like those yellow things with the handles on them?
Yes, and the
Yeah, yeah.
handle can be moved on it, and they have different desktops and different things, and you can use two and link them together.
All
Use
right,
them on a router table.
cool.
They're fantastic.
Because at the moment I just use a push stick at the moment.
Yeah, this will let you push down too. So if you're afraid of, well, it's not going to kick up. If the blade's turning towards you, you're not going to get a kick up of the blade because the blade's pulling the wood down. But you still want to make sure you have weight when you steer it because it can be a problem.
Yeah. Mike says his are homemade, as the gripper blocks are quite expensive.
Yeah, I just happened to be when they came out the proper place at the proper time at a trade show and become a tester for them.
Cool.
I got all the accessories in and I still keep getting them. But I swear by them.
See, I really want to get into segmented work. I'm fascinated by it, and I think it would be very therapeutic for me. So obviously I need a better bandsaw to be able to resaw, and also, to help with making the jigs for the sleds for the table saw, so I can cut the segments on the table saw.
Yeah.
And I just want to do big. big segmented work, you know?
Well, with the bandsaw, make sure you get something you can get a riser block on.
Yep. I do like the Laguna, the 14,
Oh, yeah.
but don't we all? It's like $2,000 over here for one of those.
Oh, it's that here too.
17.99, I think it is here. And they've got the ceramic guides, and it's just, you know,
Yeah.
it's one of those things that you dream of having a bandsaw like that.
It is, but that's a pro worker full time. You know, they're not cheap, so you got to be able to make enough money to pay for it, or have a sugar daddy or sugar mommy.
Yeah, that's what I need.
I have
Hey,
to say,
Jay.
that
How you doing?
Sorry.
All right.
Yeah, right. I'm eating my lunch.
That doesn't look like it's cutting that bad, actually.
Yeah, it's not too bad, eh?
so what did you bring us for lunch?
Christmas ham on a sandwich, on some bread,
With mustard?
and cream. No, cream cheese.
Jeez.
That's Aussies.
Always got to be different.
Yeah. Hey, you're lucky I haven't got a kangaroo on here.
Well, I've had kangaroo, so it didn't bother me.
There you go. See?
The one I've been in.
Good. Try having some bread with
11.
your ham.
Little bit. Sorry, Dr. Bob, what was that?
I've been in a lot of countries. Last count has been 9 in my life. So my passport only shows 5, but the other were military. And when I was in England in 1971, 72, on temporary duty as an exchange with a bunch of British people who came, and it was an interesting program. It wasn't necessarily classified, but they told us we couldn't talk about it, though it's in the movies today. But no one ever sent out a release saying you could. But it was an interesting. What got me is a breakfast. I made a mistake. I was told to order a true British breakfast. I have never seen so many courses than what was served. I couldn't eat it all. And I was a big eater. Everyone that was there, the Brits, just kept laughing their heads off at me. But that's a small British. You should have ordered the full one. I didn't know a breakfast came in courses.
Oops, all right.
Sorry, Jay, just gone deaf, that's all. 14 countries, I think I've been to.
What, other than England, and of course France for the women, what are your favorite?
South Africa.
Haven't been there. I've wanted to go. So I wanted to take that train that goes down from the top all the way down to Africa. It's like 3 times a week it runs.
Totally spent 6 weeks in South Africa, and I just totally fell in love with the country.
Oh, the people, I've been told, are really friendly.
Yep.
There's a couple of wood turners from there that
Yeah,
You
yappy.
should be there online.
It's one of my biggest regrets, actually. I was offered a job while I was out there, and I turned it down. And I wish I hadn't. I wish I'd stayed.
Before or after apartheid?
After 2005.
Oh, good. It looks so really fantastic. There's a couple of people that were in photography and doing travel logs online, and I followed for quite a while before he gave up and found something better. But he lived there, and the way he could show Africa off and the people and the stuff they did in South Africa, and he kind of made it like it was two separate countries and three cultures. And that was the big thing that he pointed out, that there were three cultures there and they all got along well.
Yeah.
One that I really loved was Germany, but only I think when I spent time there was during Oktoberfest, and it's hard to remember stuff you do in Oktoberfest.
Yeah, yeah.
It's hard to remember what room you stay in. That's why the room tags were so big for people.
Yeah, I was in Germany for a bit. Norway, Belgium, France, Italy, Portugal, Spain, Canada, America, Republic of Ireland, South Africa, Kenya, Mozambique, Botswana. I think that's it.
Do you need a passport now to go to Ireland?
Yes.
But you didn't a week ago.
Well, yeah, we will do come 1st of January. Because to go to the Republic of Ireland, to go to Northern Ireland, we won't need passport. Because they're still part of the UK, but the Republic of Ireland is still in the European Union.
Okay. Now I'm going to have to dig my map up to figure out where that is. I don't know if it's on the maps I have access to. I have to Google it.
Well, Northern Ireland is basically the top right-hand corner of Ireland. All the rest of it is the Republic of Ireland, which is a sovereign state of its own.
Okay. So to get to Ireland, you got to go through the Republic of Ireland?
No, you can go straight into Northern Ireland direct from the UK.
Okay.
Or you can go direct straight to the Republic of Ireland, which is Southern Ireland.
Yeah.
They get a bit arsey with you if you call it Southern Ireland. Well, they get a bit arsey with you if the English call it Southern Ireland.
Yeah.
So it's the Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland, just to keep them happy.
And of course, you've got the problem of currency again. Or are
Oh
they
yeah,
going to create their own currency?
No, because Republic of Ireland are in the Eurozone, so they use euros. Northern Ireland use pound sterling.
Okay.
And will continue to do so. Second of January, it all kicks off.
Well, I know when I was little, I always, as a kid, my grandmother was from Ireland, and my grandfather was from Scotland. And before that, it was the opposite. It was just the opposite when it came to my great grandparents. So the joke in the era where I was a little kid, they always used to banter back and forth about who did what when and who fought in what war and why. But it was fun because it was all done over fun, joking about it. And I could never understand how you could joke about stuff like that. And finally, well, it was my grandfather who taught me wood turning. And it was his father that taught him woodworking because they learned in schools. Uh, so it was really interesting because my grandfather was an SOB. Everything had to be just so. And I learned a lot from that. And I think I owe a lot to him and what before that never met. I've seen pictures of my great great grandparents, but my grandparents, he had a shop that he had built in Michigan, his father, when they came over at the potato famine. And
I had,
settled
I
in
had,
Canada and then came down.
I had one grandmother who was Scottish and one grandmother who was Welsh. We don't talk about her much. But the rest were all English, so.
But my grandfather, my great grandfather's shop, and my grandfather, they built it, and it actually had a belt. All the tools were belt driven, line drive.
Really? Oh, wicked.
Yeah. And they had a boiler that they would fire up, and then there was always the family story about you didn't check the water and that's why it blew up, but that's 30 years ago. Well,
Yeah.
you didn't do it then. The blame is still there. And when I was little, it was all powered by I think it was a 10 horsepower 220 motor.
Yeah.
And it was interesting to hear the belts flap and all of everything overhead. And every once in a while, it had to get up and oil them. And they had this leather strap they'd put over the line, and it would walk itself end to end. And if it didn't walk in, from the spinning, and it was just a belt sewed together about 2 inches wide, and that kept it clean.
Yeah.
And had a bell hung on it for the big long drive. It had 2 or 3 of them, but they all had bells that sounded different. And it used to bug me. The bell hitting, when it hit one end, you'd hear it go ding or ding, and then the same thing. And I said, why are they up there? Because they talk to me. And that's all my grandfather would say. Okay. Finally, after a while, getting used to him, what do they tell you? They tell me when I need to get up and oil the line drive. They do. Yes, because part of the oil drips on them. When the oil cups are empty, they go slower. And when they go slower and they hit the other end, they don't ring the same. Okay, that all makes sense. But I couldn't understand this going back and forth and going ding, and it's you don't hear it after a while. It's
Yeah,
just
yeah,
there.
yeah.
But that's how they made sure that the oil cups were full. On the
Sometimes the old
barrel.
ways are the best, aren't they?
Yeah. But I'll tell you the one thing I have taught and I have used the same technique on people and students uh, is sharpening. And the first job at 10 years old was to learn to sharpen if I was going to be in his shop and I could sit at his sharpening bench.
Yeah,
And it had a high stool on it that he could just turn around and put his butt on, but I couldn't. And because the benches were made for him working standing up. And if you got tired, you just put the wooden stool and sit down, but it was about the same height. And he taught me to sharpen, and he had 7 stones in a row in a box, and they all were in the box and had a wooden frame around to hold each stone in place.
yeah,
And he would start, this is how you sharpen the first stuff, the metal on the first one. And you get it, this is the shape. And then you go to the next one. Then you go to the next one. And then you keep going uphill until you can take, and this doesn't work for a 10-year-old. You take and you do this, and it cuts the hair on your arm. But I
yeah,
don't have any hair. Well, then it should hold up a piece of paper and you can do this. And these were chisels, not turning tools, wood chisels.
yeah,
Because he did a lot of carving and he had some fancy ones and plane blades. And that's what he started me on. And go all the way through. And you say, you go all the way through, and then we test it on a piece of paper. Well, it wouldn't work. And he'd say, well, do over. Key thing, do over. Period.
yeah.
And
All the way
I
back to
would
the start.
start. No,
Oh, I
because
used to.
supposedly you know where you should be checking, and at this point, if it's not sharp, you've wasted the other end. Get it to one point, and finally, I did it and I got one right. And he says, "That's great." Now, why did it take so long? Because I kept doing over at the other end. I didn't say start over. You're supposed to know at what grit you need to start and work your way through. Okay. Said, listen to what people say. Didn't say start over again. You missed a stage and you have to do that stage over again.
Yeah. Because I used to make knives. I've made over 100 knives for people, sold them all over the world. And a friend of mine lent me he had a Japanese whetstone.
Ooh,
It was equivalent to 32,000 grit.
yeah.
So I could, because we used to enter competitions. It's a bit sad, really. In the knife making world, you can enter a sharpness competition. I had a couple of knives go into comps that I sharpened to 32,000. They don't hold an edge, but I'll tell you, they're sharp. They're wicked sharp.
Yeah.
You can
How do
split
they
a hair
test
with
the
them.
microscope?
Yeah. Yeah.
Measure the thickness. Yeah, with
They
a
measure the
microscope.
thickness and they measure the consistency of the actual edge of the blade. They're looking for marks and lines, grooves.
Yeah.
It's got to be perfectly clean. It just takes so long. It used to take me, if I was doing a competition knife, it used to take me 15 hours just sharpening.
Oh,
Not to mention the 40 or 50 hours beforehand hand forging the knife anyway. So a competition knife, I could easily spend 70, 80 hours on a knife before I'd put it in.
You have your own forge?
I used to.
Propane fired?
No, coal-fired.
Oh.
I was a traditional knife maker. I didn't have any power tools. Everything was hand forged, forge welded by hand, no power hammers, no presses. Hammers and anvil.
Yeah.
I used to grind the bevels in by hand. I used to polish by hand, sharpen by hand, set the pins, pin the pins in. That's how I got into wood turning, because my signature handles were a Japanese style knife handle. So I used to turn them on a knackered old lathe I had.
Ah.
Then I used to burn the tangs in. So you'd heat the tang up, burn it down into the handle, and then drill through with an old hand drill, set the brass pins in. I used to make my own mosaic pins.
Midnight's going. Good night. And I agree, that is a...
Night, Mike.
That looks not...
Thanks for coming in, Mark.
Got a rising sun on there.
Yeah, you have.
It looks like a girl's face. Japanese
You watch
girl.
this. Watch how many times it rises. Look how many times it rises and goes down. Watch, ready?
Yeah.
Look at that. Whoa! Look at the days go past. That's a lot of hours you spend doing a knife there, Mark.
You have to when you're doing it by hand. I mean, if you've got a power hammer, you can get it down to 15, 20 hours maybe. But when you're doing it by hand, swinging a hammer, you know, especially because I used to.
Have muscles like Arnie Schwarzenegger.
Because I used to make my own Damascus as well, so.
Ooh, that's a lot of work.
Damascus steel.
What's that?
Fold in different bits, different grades of steel, and you get that black and white pattern through the metal.
Oh, yeah.
So you have to, you spend, you can spend 15, 20 hours just making the Damascus billets before you forge them out into the blade.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot of work. How much did you get for your knives?
We're talking 89 to 95 I made knives. So 1995 I was selling my knives for £200 each.
And today's price?
Yeah.
Today, if I made a knife today with my reputation, I'd probably sell a knife for about £2,000, £3,000.
Okay.
I just can't do it.
What size knife?
No, go on.
Sorry, go. I was going to say the knife that you'd sell for a couple of hundred. What size was that?
They were a 6-inch blade.
Yeah.
They were hunting knives. They were working knives. They weren't. They were
okay.
Camp knives, skinning, hunting, mainly to people in Africa and America through the archery. You know.
Yep.
As far as I know, they're still all out there. Kept in touch with a couple of people who still have my stuff.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that. Do you talk to anyone? See how your
still
stuff's
holding
going
up over time. Thing is, if you make something traditional like that, it'll last a lifetime. You know, my knives will still be up
Yeah.
there after
Yeah.
I'm dead and buried. So
Yeah.
They're a
they've all,
legacy.
Yep.
yeah, they've all got my signature mark on them, but they can't see it. It's always hidden.
That's a good way to tell if it's a forgery, then, isn't it? Because you know where it's hidden.
I know where it's hidden and I know what it is.
Yep.
That way, when Lloyd's of London insure one of your knives,
Oh, I wish.
so what got you away from doing knives to wood turning? Just because you enjoyed the change?
Well, I know. I mean, I stopped making knives in '95. It was only ever really a hobby. It was just something to do. It was something I was fascinated with. And I didn't do anything. I didn't make anything until last year after my illness. And it was because of my illness, I knew I needed to, I needed something to use as rehabilitation because of the PTSD and I needed to build my strength up. I needed a project to focus on mentally because when I came out of hospital, Bob, you've got to remember, I couldn't walk. My whole left side didn't work at all. I'd lost 85% of my muscle mass because I'd been in a coma and been in bed for 10 months. And
You're a walking miracle.
yeah, well, walking disaster.
Because you wanted to do it. Your body or your soul, or depending upon what type of culture you want to believe in, it was something in you that said, I'm not going to give up.
Yeah, suppose.
It is.
I was going to get back into making knives again, but with the knife culture the way it is in the UK now, it's very difficult to market and sell knives because basically they're illegal, and physically I couldn't.
Sell them here.
I couldn't
That
swing
would be a big market.
Well, yeah, but I couldn't. This flooded. I've been out of the game for so long. My reputation's gone. Nobody really remembers me from when I used to make knives. Plus, I just didn't have the strength to swing a sledgehammer. It's a physically demanding hobby. It's a physically demanding skill. So, because of the handles I used to make, I had a bit of experience with a lathe, mainly spindle work. So I thought, well, I'll pick up a lathe, and start turning pens. So I started turning pens. Pens turned into small bowls and dishes, and then here I am today doing what I do.
It's addicting.
Very.
At least the creative people. And it's not just, you can have creative people who will be forever on pens because that's what they're very creative in, and they want different pieces of wood, different plastics, different resins. Can I do this? Hey, I got a good friend. That's all he does. He doesn't want to migrate beyond that because there's some new pen system, pen blank, or some, he's just can't believe it. He's got these. They look like guns, miniature.
Yeah,
guns,
I know the ones.
pens.
I know the ones. You see, I used to be like that.
He gets $100 a piece for them and more.
Yeah, my pens sell. My cheapest pen sells for £45. My most expensive one I've ever sold was £300. But the thing that kind of dawned on me at the end of the day, a pen is a pen. No matter how pretty it is or how beautiful the blank is, it's still a pen.
Yeah.
Whereas what I'm doing now is so many different forms, shapes, sizes, woods, acrylics, segments.
Yep.
There's just so much variety, and I enjoy the variety. So
I think,
I've kind of moved away from pens, and I'm enjoying the bigger stuff now.
yeah, well, it's, I have seen a big change in people because I used wood turning as a kid because it was something I could do with my family. And then after NAM, after being a POW, and you know, I got a couple of decent jobs, but then I ended up going to Alaska with the skills I had in filmmaking and video and getting a job to document the pipeline, at least half of it from Fairbanks North. And the people that I met there, I got into some turning again with another professor on campus. But there I found I had more interest in production and TV and whatever, and because it was exciting coming up with new techniques to do things. Solving problems, that's always been my big thing, because if it's 40 below zero, cameras won't work. Nothing works. You
Yeah,
have to winterize them. And I had almost infinite money from the pipeline company to do the documentation because that was a tax write-off for them. And it was nothing to put an order in for $500,000 worth of cameras and then hire a person from California that was a camera repair person on commercial movie cameras. 16, always 16 millimeter, but hire them, bring them up, pay them a fortune, make them work in a freezer, with heavy coats on, to winterize a movie camera, a film camera, so as it would work. Because I found the lubricant. My brother-in-law, he saved my neck. Because he was working in satellite engineering, and he said, "I got this new stuff, Bob. I'll send you a can of it. It's what we use to lubricate moving parts in satellites. It's called Teflon."
oh,
Yeah, but it's a liquid at cold temperatures.
all right.
So they could put it on, and when we use it, but the initial Teflon was a liquid. You have to have a paste and harden it, what we have. But at zero, absolute zero, up to about -10, -20, it's more of a paste. And then as it warms up, it thickens. So we had to have all the cameras taken apart and lubricated with it and kept in freezers at -10. Because now you could go out and shoot stuff because the film doesn't care. It's not brittle. And but you didn't dare get it warm because all the lubricant would run out
Yeah,
when it
man.
warmed up. It would get gummy. And then you'd have to go and but we made it work and got listed on a Pulitzer for it and other for achievements. I didn't even know that until way afterwards. But Academy listed on several Academy Awards for technology development. But that was the challenge, to photograph at below zero on a regular basis. We used to say you can tell if you're an outsider or an Athabascan, a Chichaco, if you don't understand when the weatherman says it's 40 warming to 20 today.
Yeah, it's still cold.
Yes, but you have to work at that temperature and do your job, and that's what fascinated me. And when I got back, I did a lot of that type of work, but then I got involved with because it wasn't challenging anymore, trying to solve a problem that no one had done before. That was the challenge. Uh, my PTSD, they started calling it that. They used to call it shell shock, if you remember. But then
Yeah.
suffering from PTSD when they redefined it. Uh, one of the people that was in a focus group that I was working with and being a member of when I was at the University of Michigan. And they were researching it on the medical side at the hospital, because they also have a hospital at the university. We found that getting rid of anger is important. And one of the doctors there, professor, he was a wood turner, and he invited me back to his shop that he had. And I was talking about how I learned with my grandfather turning, but most of the stuff I had to swear was secret because the tools that he was using that he made at the time were considered, as far as the Masonic Lodge, which he was a Mason, the top you could get, 32nd, 33rd, whatever it is. As a kid, when he learned that those tools were secret. And all of a sudden, the professor is handing me a gouge. And I'm looking at that and thinking, this is one of my grandfather's secret tools. And then he pulled the other out, and he was turning spears with a pipe that he had sharpened all the way around the diameter of it, put a bevel on, and then welded a handle to it, a metal handle of which a wooden one was then bolted to it to make spears. And it's like, I had to swear on a Bible every day. I couldn't tell anybody what this was or how it was used, and I was using it when I was a teenager, only because my grandfather taught me to use these tools. And come to find out, the teacher's father was avid wood turner, and he was using his grandfather's tools too. But he was from England,
Right.
his family, when they came over. So he was using the handmade tools because there wasn't many companies making wood turning tools in the late 60s and during the 70s. They were coming out of England, or there was some out of Australia, but that was it. But I found that you get rid of anger, turning something. I've joked too many times, I'll put a log on and make a toothpick, but I'm no longer angry because I'm standing in my anger. The shavings.
Yeah.
But the way the tools were so iffy from catches, you had to be able to focus on what you were doing. And that's what brought my focus back. And I've worked with a lot of people. When I worked at the tech shop with vets for post-traumatic stress, and our club, we have lathes that we have in our own shop, small ones, and several members have lathes, the small lathes that they loan out to vets as members, get them to come in as a member. We've got members that are in wheelchairs. We put a wheelchair lift in where we meet so they can make our meetings.
Yeah. It's good.
And I'm not an electronic guru, not like some of these teenagers today. But about 8 years ago, just buying off-the-shelf stuff, I was able to make a remote control that when I was working at the tech shop with their lathe, we had a remote power switch on and off. It's a big Powermatic, so it had one on a cord. But I always put that on if they were in a wheelchair, because we had a wheelchair lift that would raise them up so they could work on a lathe and put them at the right level. It was a hydraulic lift.
Yeah.
We just modified a hydraulic lift to do it, like a forklift, and they made it so they could drive up on it, and it locked in place with C-clamps so they couldn't move. That's all we had, but it was enough to keep the VA happy for safety. But you had to stand there with them. It was interesting, but it helped a lot of people being able to take their anger out in wood and at the same time be creative.
Yeah.
So we have lathes we have loaned out to hospitals and homes for, I don't know what the polite thing is today, homes for the elderly. But they're always changing the polite name for it. Assisted homes, assisted living homes, where they can actually have it and work on something and do something instead of just sit there and count the days on the calendar until they serve roast beef again.
That's looking good, Jay.
That bird. Yeah, cheers. Is that bird nice and loud for you?
Yeah,
I can hear it echoing back through my speakers. He's appropriately named Noisy Minor Bird.
I'm going to have to shoot off, I'm afraid.
Yep, no worries. I was actually going to say I'm going to knock it in the head in a couple of minutes because I've got Sid coming here in a minute. So.
Okay. Oh, it's been good. Cheers. Thanks for having me, mate.
Thanks for coming in, Mark.
Take care. See you, Dr. Bob.
Take it easy.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
I enjoyed talking with you.
Cheers. You too.
Cheers. Take care. Have a good night.
Yeah, I just thought I'd put the metho on there just to see the colour, to show the colour to you and Mark and anyone else out there. And I'm gonna knock it on the head now. Appreciate you coming in. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you for inviting us. Have a good night.
Yeah, you too. Most probably do it about the same time tomorrow because it's going to be hot again.
Better. Yeah, because it's cooler for you and earlier for the rest of the world.
Yes. Okay, no worries. I'll catch you later.
Yep, good night.
Bye-bye. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up, folks, or thumbs down, whatever. I don't care.